Hello everybody, I hope you guys are doing well. We're back with another video today. So, we're going to be doing Magden. This is the build that I have been talking about for a while now. It's basically the one I talked about on my YouTube where I couldn't get Gaze of Sithis, this, that, and the other. I had a lot of people message me and say this build is really overpowered, diverse. It's really annoying to go up against. So that makes me very, very excited to post the video because it's not just my own opinion. Other people are also saying the build's good. So, as always, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Welcome back, and thank you for tuning in again. So, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the character screen. Now, keep in mind, this is no CP here, so my stats are what they would be in a no CP setting. So here we go. We have 31k magic, 1900 magic recovery, 1000 stam recovery, 900 health recovery. That's before one of our sets proc too. We have 32k health, 16k stamina, 3400 spell damage, again before two of our procs, so our spell damage is going to be significantly higher than that, so that's nice. The spell crit is 26%. That's pretty solid. It's more than a quarter. That's not bad. Spell pens 42, which is a lot lower than it will actually be, which I will explain. And then the resistances, we have 28k and 25k. That is solid. Anything above like 22k is where I try to get, so this is good. And then we have 1500 crit resist, which will be doubled when our set proc. So like I said, our face stats are really not what the stats are. So once we're fully buffed is really where you're going to see the build shine. So I'll explain to you how it gets to that point. So let's go into gear. On the front bar, we're using a Master Ice Staff. This feeds into Warden very, very well. Now, the options here, you could either use Destructive Clench or Destructive Reach, I think they're called. They're both good, but I do like the one with the dot, I think. I don't know. They both have their positives and negatives, but I do use this. I think Warden has a weird toolkit. Like, they have good damage abilities, but for some reason their burst just struggles, and that's probably because they don't have a great ultimate. I mean, Northern Storm is great for against certain builds, but those builds that need the burst damage, we need something to supplement it. So the Ice Staff's going to give us that 600 spell damage for 4 seconds. It's really, really good. Also, on top of that, if you don't have the Master Staff, what I would recommend doing is probably using a Willpower Staff, because that's really the better option. There's no other choice, really. So, and then on the back bar, we're using Rallying Cry. So we are using a Berserker enchantment. We have Precise on it to proc it quicker, because what Rallying Cry does, gives you crit chance, max magic, crit chance again, which is very good for what it needs. When Battle Spirit is active, which is always in PvP, you get 290 spell and weapon damage and 1600 crit resist for 20 seconds. The bottom part doesn't really matter much. I mean, every teammate around you lowers it by 14 and 80, which isn't a big deal because I play BGs. But yeah, that's a lot of damage. So you're doubling your crit resist. You're getting 300 more spell damage. Like the damage really, really, really gets pushed high on this build with that. So it is very, very solid. Now, instead of Precise, you could use Precise. Like I said, I mean, it worked for me. But you could also use Powered. Powered is probably better. Even Defending is probably even better than that. Or Decisive is also pretty good. So you definitely have some options. But my main choice would probably be Powered. So just so you know. Now, on the helm, we're using Gaze of Sithis. This took me forever to get. If you follow my YouTube, you know. This took me a minute. It took me a while. But we finally got it. And I think it's really paying off. It helps a lot. Now, there is other options if you don't want to use Gaze of Sithis, because you will lose some face stats, but like you get, bonuses in return. So, Gaze of Sithis gives 3,300 health, 1,000 health recovery, and 4,000 armor. And then, of course, your block mitigation is nothing, which is fine. I don't block on this build. It doesn't matter to me. Now, the health recovery doesn't matter as well, really, because I am a vamp. So that's not that big of a deal. Whatever. Now, the other 5-piece we're using on the body, it has to be up at all times, unfortunately, is Eternal Vigor. This set is incredible. I really find it so important as a Magic Warden to have a recovery set on. You have to have a sustain set. I've tried so many different builds. I've tried so many different items, so many different sets, and I have to come back to this over and over and over. I can't use a neck or a Magden without having a sustain set. I tried Desert Rose. I tried of the Lich, but I don't like those light armor sets that are only light armor. So I'm really loving Eternal Vigor. Another option would be Wretched Vitality. That's another option, just saying. So yeah, but I do like Eternal Vigor because it gives each of the recoveries, and then the 5-piece you get 300 stamina and magic while above 50%, and then 1,000 health recovery while under 50%. So you get your main resources sustain while you're high health, so you can push that damage, and then low health you get the more health. That way you can stay alive and recover from those low health situations. So that's why I'm a big fan of it. It's a good set. It's overall just a very well balanced, well rounded set. So for our other shoulder piece, we are using Balorg, just a 1-piece here. It's your option if you want to use Balorg, if you want to use Valkyn Scoria, if you want to use something that gives health. Like, it's up to you. Use whatever you want as another 1-piece here. So I'm just letting you know, totally your choice. So here we have another, obviously, Eternal Vigor. Oops, I have a blue piece. I'm sorry. Oops. But anyways, what you ideally want is reinforced on the big pieces, and then you can do a mixture of well fitted and impen, because we do get a lot of crit resist anyways from Rallying Cry, so it's not that big of a deal. But you do want reinforced, well fitted, and impen. Then the jewelry, Rallying Cry, Eternal Vigor, whatever, mix it in how you feel. However many heavy, however many light, however many medium with your monster's helm. Just mix it in and, make it work how you feel, how you see fit, I should say. That's the gear. Now, if you don't want to use Gaze of Sithis, if you don't have it, there is couple other options. One option is Malabeth Scourger. This set is absolutely incredible. You get 1,000 or 1,100 health, I should say. And then when you take damage, you have a 10% chance to steal a beam. You get minor vitality, increasing your healing received. Now, don't get this confused with minor mending, because that's the thing. If you use a Resto Staff and you heavy attack, you get minor mending. But then on top of it, Malabeth gives you healing received. So you get both of these bonuses at once, meaning you get 32% healing done. That's why this set is so good, because it's a different kind of healing buff than major mending. That's why it's so good. Now, another option, this is kind of cheese, but it is what it is. You could also use Engine Guardian. Engine Guardian, I believe someone did the math years ago. Engine Guardian gives about a 16% damage mitigation buff because of how many hits that it takes. So, really, not only are you getting straight up damage mitigation, I mean, how many Templars do you run into? Magplars that use Engine Guardian and you just can't hit them? Because it's just so good. So it might be as good, or almost as good as Gaze of Sithis. Gaze of Sithis gives you those flat stats that are really amazing, and there's no downtime. Engine Guardian gives you that crazy damage mitigation pretty much when it casts, which is all the time almost, but it also gives you that recovery with magic stamina or health. So it's very, very good. It's a very, very valid option. It's almost as good as Sithis, if not just as good. So don't sleep on it. Very good. But yeah, that's what I feel for the 5-piece and monster helm. So let's get into skills. On the front bar, we have Mage Light because we're not using Malakaz, so we need a crit. We need a crit, source, let's say. Also, max magic. You get 5% max magic, which is really, really nice for Inner Light. Very, very, very good. And then we're using Deep Fissure, as you know, bread and butter skill. The reason I said her penetration is much higher because look at that. You get minor and major breach with high IO update. You get almost 6,000 and 3,000, so pretty much you get almost 9,000 extra penetration, and it's always up. You get it for 10 seconds, but you're hitting this skill constantly, so it's not going to matter. And then Bird of Prey, get the minor Berserk, which is really good. And then, like I said, we're using Frost Reach. We could have used Frost Clench, I think the other version is, but I like this one because it just does way more damage. It also gives the Chill status effect. You're missing out on the Minor Maim and the Immobilize, but this skill is also very good. So if you do want to use the other one, I will not be opposed. I tried it. It's still pretty solid. It doesn't hit quite as hard, but it does a lot more for you. It can line up your Deep Fissure a lot easier because of the Immobilize. And then lastly, we're using Arterial Burst because, well, one, I hate this skill here. It sucks. I'm not a big fan. And it's very expensive, 2,700. and then again 2700. Well, and then in the meantime, you're getting arterial burst that not only hits harder, but it does more damage at low health, and also it's really cheap. So like I said, we are vamp, so we're using arterial burst, and then we are using the undeath passive. We're using stage 3 vamp. You can easily get your vamp stage up by feeding. Very easy. Go up to any NPC and bite their neck. Easy. And then we're using Northern Storm. This skill is a lot better than it used to be. The cost is 200, but with vamp you get 216. It does a lot of damage. It does a lot of snaring. It also gives you weapon and spell damage for 30 seconds. 30 seconds is a long time. This is, again, why I say Rallying Cry gives you a lot of spell damage, your Master Staff gives you a lot of spell damage, your Northern Storm gives you a lot of spell damage. You get 300 from Rallying Cry, 300 from Northern Storm, and then 600 from the Master Staff. You get 1200 more spell damage, and then on top of it, you get major protection from this skill. So you do get a lot of spell damage from your sets and your skills. Then on the back bar, we're using Ice Fortress, obviously a bread and butter skill. We are using Crystallized Slab. I tried using this form. I really can't get rid of this skill. One, it ends up almost free because you absorb 800 magic every time someone hits you. And if we're being honest, literally everyone uses projectiles in ESO, so this is incredible. It also negates snipe spammers, and Nightblades get wrecked by this because their Spectral Bow doesn't hit you. It does a lot of damage, and then the new update, it stuns. So we are trading Major Heroism for CC, which is fine because we really don't have any other CC. We used to use Arctic Wind. That skill is done. It doesn't do enough damage, it doesn't heal enough, and it costs too much. Not good. So yeah, we're using this. I would use this. I wouldn't trade it. It's my favorite skill on my entire build, honestly. It's the main reason I play Magic Warden. Now we're using Rapid Regen. If you want to use the other version of Regeneration, I guess, but this one's better for yourself. More selfish version of it, I guess, whatever. But it's very good. And if you keep this up pretty much all the time, you're going to be getting healed like crazy. And then Living Trellis, it's pretty much like Rapid Regen kinda, except at the end of it, you get the burst heal. Now I would use Leeching Vines, but I don't have a burst heal, so I'm using this kind of as my burst heal when I'm in a bind. If you do a heavy attack, Major Mending, you get it. It really doesn't do much less than Arctic Wind. If anything, it might do more because Arctic Wind sucks. So now we're using Blue Betty. Obviously, you get extra magic recovery, so pretty much we're at over 2k recovery because of this. And then you can spam it as a cleanse, so it's really good as well. And then lastly, we're using Life Giver. This skill is 100 times better than Enchanted Forest. Don't use Enchanted Forest. That skill sucks. I don't like it at all. Life Giver is amazing. So, yeah. Now, if you do not want to run Vamp, you don't necessarily have to. It's not required, but it is better. I tried both. So if you do not run Vamp, or if you don't want to use Arterial Burst, you can use Destructive Reach as your spammable. And then you could go Fetcher Infection right here. It's still very good. Same thing if you don't use a Master Staff, you could use Fetcher Infection and Arterial Burst. You know, it's totally up to you. And then if you really want to change, if you really do want to use Mistform, you really are welcome to. You could take off something, probably Crystallized Slab, but that's totally up to you. So, yeah guys, that's the build. I'm going to be posting a separate video that's going to have the gameplay in it. I'm going to be recording. I already got some clips. I'm recording another clip. So, that's really it, guys. I really appreciate you tuning in. I'm not going to do CP because I don't play CP, so I don't want to give you information that isn't accurate. So, if you want CP for a Magden, I'm sure there's a million videos out there that can provide that for you. So, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you have a great day and enjoy the video. Thank you.